Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. This is going to be a continuation of my OSPF Shamlink. So this is going to be MPLS, right? Now, I did a theory video the last video, and if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to put a card up here, link in the description. Go ahead, watch that video first to get the theory about OSPF Shamlink, why you should do it, what problem it solves, and then come back here and watch the lab so it makes more sense, right? Because once you see it in the lab and you have the theory, it's going to be more concrete. Now, before we get into the lab, as always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. I do a lot of deep dives on technologies, and if you're a person that likes deep dive when it comes to learning technology, this is the channel for you. With that being said, let's get in the lab. Brand new created lab just for this. So let's get in the lab and start working on this. All right. So here's the lab, basic lab, super basic lab. MPLS at the top, OSPF backdoor link at the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate what it looks like prior to doing the sham link, and then after we do the sham link, what it looks like, and where we can do the manipulation here. Now, pay attention to this if you're like, going for your CCIE and stuff like that. Service provider, probably this is where you're going to see that, because in real life, you're probably never going to do this, right? Because you're not going to be on the service provider side to do the sham link in the first place, right? Number two, most service providers like to do BGP as their peering protocol or PE to CE protocol. They do not want to do EIGRP or OSPF. They just don't like using that unless you're doing an overlay VPN, which is your layer 2 VPN stuff, your VPLS or your VPWS kind of stuff. You can do, because you control the routing, you can do, EIGRP, RIP, OSPF, ISAT. You can do all that all you want with overlay VPNs. But if you're doing a peering VPN to the service provider, they're most likely going to say static route or BGP. Now, with that being said, the MPLS is already up and running. So we look at router 8 and I go show IP route. As you see here, you're going to see a bunch of uh, EA routes here, or not EA routes, what am I talking about? OIA routes. Now, the reason you see this is because the domain ID is the same in OSPF, right, on both sides, both the PE side. So because the domain ID is the same, you're going to see OIA routes. If they were different, you will see E routes, right? E2 routes in specifically here, because they're not the same domain ID. Now you do see some E2s here, and these two links here, or these loopbacks, are actually, I'm advertising them in the BGP, and I'm using these for the sham link, right? So because I'm redistributing from BGP into OSPF, technically this is going to be seen as an E2, right? Now, what I mean by domain ID, so we go up to one of my route reflectors here, and if I do show BGP, VPN v4, unicast all, now we're going to look at router 9's loopback, which is 255.9 or 10.255.255.9/32. And then we're going to go and do 8 as well. So this is what I mean by domain ID is the same. So behind the scenes, when you do router OSPF 1, technically the domain ID is changed to that number, whatever in hex, right? And here you see, at least in the VPN v4 table for that specific route, you see the domain ID for router 9 loopback and for router 8 loopback is pretty much the same. That's why you see OIA or inter-area routes, right? Technically LSA 3s, right? Those are your, well, yeah, your LSA 3 there. Almost messed up there. I don't want y'all guys killing me for that. Now for here, what we're going to do is we're going to establish this OSPF connection here, and then you're going to see the OIA routes disappear, the inter-area routes, LSA 3s. You're going to see those disappear. All right. And then we're just going to be stuck with intra-area routes or router. We're going to see LSA 1s or router LSAs. because we're no longer going to be accepting any routes coming through the MPLS, because OSPF best path selection is going to pick the intra area route over the inter area route. All right. So before we go anything, I like to always tell you guys, I'm going to make sure you know it works, so you guys don't, I'm not showing you a lab that doesn't work. So now we got reachability that's going over the MPLS. And if we trace route, same thing, we will eventually see the, label moving through the network, right? We'll see the complete LSP here. So we'll see the imposition or pushing the label on. Then we'll see, well, in this situation, you'll see PHP because router 3 is right next to the egress PE. So you will not see any swapping here. And then it goes to the other side. So here's the label, the transport label, the bus, and the passenger here. And then now you see the service label. And then the PHP process happened because with the one label, the VPN label, obviously this is the IP packet. Basic MPLS fundamental stuff, right? So now we are going to, let me show you the configuration on the backdoor link here. So we already have OSPF enabled. We just need to no shut the interface. We do this on the same side here. And then when the adjacency comes up, these routes that you saw here will disappear. Or not disappear per se, but they will turn into intra-area routes. And now from a traffic standpoint, if I'm going to ping it, it's just going to go directly over the link. All right, so we have the adjacency here. So now, if we do show IP route, as you can see, those old IA routes, those inter-area routes disappeared. We still have the E2s there because we're redistributing the OSPF. I advertised it in BGP, so when we're redistributing in the OSPF, those routes get put in there. So now if I ping, the ping's still going to work, but now it should be direct going over 192.168.1.1. So you won't see any labeling this time. See? So the problem here is, what if this was the bandwidth on this link wasn't as heavy because it's a backdoor link, and now you got traffic going over there, and now you got issues because there's not enough bandwidth, and stuff is happening, and you pay for an MPLS link, and you pay a lot of money for it, and you're not even utilizing it, right? So this is the problem that the Sham link is supposed to solve. So what we're going to do is we have loopbacks on PE14 that I advertised in the BGP, right? Now, the key to this is this cannot be in OSPF. That's one of the requirements, right? And I'll be honest with you, I forgot that when I first did this the first time. I advertised the loopback, the secondary loopback in the OSPF, and then the sham link wasn't working, right? One of the key things is the loopback cannot be advertised in OSPF as well, and you try to do it, right? So what does that look like? So it's loopback 1 here, and as you can see, it's in the VRF, but it's not advertised in OSPF. All right, same thing here. And I've seen a lot of people like get caught up on exams because they're like, oh, I remembered this thing and I totally botched it because I spent 2 hours trying to troubleshoot, and I forgot one of the requirements is this cannot be advertised in OSPF as well, and people end up failing. So what we're going to do here And let me show you the BGP configurations here. Show you that it is advertised in the address family. So here's the address family here. We advertise that in the BGP because this is what we're going to use to do the sham link. So now that that's done, we have to go under the VRF process for OSPF. And the commands is very simple. It's just area 0, sham link, and we're going to source it from loopback 1, and then we're going to say the destination is loopback 2, and we're going to put cost value of 10 on this. Okay, so that's done. Next one we're going to do on this side. And what will happen is when the adjacency form, it'll say SL under it. Now, when you do virtual link, it says VL on it, right? So they kind of matched it with the name. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Area 0 sham link, but we're going to do it in reverse. So we're going to say we're sourcing it from our loopback, and the destination is router 1's loopback 1 interface. We'll do the same cost value of 10. Give it a couple seconds, and boom. The JC is up, OSPF SL, which is, your sham link, is up. Now, if we wanted to verify the sham link is up, we would just do show IP OSPF sham link. And it will show you sham link is up, it's point to point. So our hellos are going to be 10, and it's, typical point to point timers on there. I wouldn't suggest you messing around with any of that. But the sham link is up and running perfectly fine. So now, if we go to router 8, right, now we still have some things coming in from here across the link, the backdoor link. But what we would do here in this situation, to just make sure conversions and nothing that came through, what we would do in this situation is now you would go to G02, IP OSPF cost, and we would say 30. And I'm going to do that on 9 as well. And there may be some convergence time here that we need to worry about. And as you can see, when we originally did this, before we did this, let's say router 9 loopback was still being shown over the backdoor link, right? Still being shown on the backdoor link. Once we change the cost value, now we're back to seeing it go over the MPLS, right? Because 10.100.1.0 is technically this link here. Okay? Same thing on the other side. So originally, now, I mean, we didn't do router 9, but we should see now it's going through the MPLS again. And the only reason why we were able to do this is because, let's just verify that ping is working like it was doing it before, but you know me, always like to verify. All right. And then if we trace it, we should see the labeling again. The only reason why we were able to do this is because what the sham link does, like I said a couple minutes ago, was it's going to change the route type from a inter-area route to a intra-area route. See, now we got labeling back again. So now I can manipulate the cost values in OSPF to say, okay, I prefer MPLS over my backdoor link, but if MPLS just blew up for some reason, I can now just use the backdoor link to get there. We're going to look at the database here. So as you can see, we still have those type 5s in there because it's the Shamlink loopbacks, but we still have that in here, and that's fine. But as you can tell, everything now that was working the way it was working before is the same, right? We originally gone over MPLS, and then we added the backdoor link, and then we had the issue come up of, oh, we're using a backdoor link and we really want to use MPLS. Then we created the sham link within the MPLS network between the two PEs, which changed the route type from an inter-area route to an intra-area route. And then it was simple manipulation of the OSPF cost values. So you can say go over MPLS for everything until MPLS disappears. All right, so let's get out the lab and we'll just, end this. So that was it. Hoped you learned something about the OSPF Shamlink. Like I said before, most of the time you are never going to do this, right? Because this is usually done on the service provider side. So if you're not on the service provider side, you're probably never going to use this. Number two, most ISPs, they're going to use BGP, so you'll probably never see this out in the wild. But it's a good technique, again, to have in your toolbox if somebody messes up, right? Usually these type of band-aids are done because the design was wrong or something wasn't thought about, which is, oh, we want to use MPLS, not the backdoor link, and we needed a way to fix that, all right? So this is Don from Padlock Technologies again. Hope you liked this video. Again, if you haven't already, please share, comment, like, and subscribe. Here's to the next video. Thank you, and have a nice day.